Munster, Northampton, folks, Champions Cup. We bit delayed. This game was on at like 2 something in the morning here in NZ. But someone asked me if I was going to watch it. I wasn't sure which of the games I should watch. I tend to watch the game which is on at the best time for me, which obviously at 2 in the morning this one was not. But by the time I got my daughter off to school, daycare, I got home and it was well past all of the games finishing. So I thought, all right. Munster tend to do all right in Europe, and I haven't seen them or Northampton play for a while. I know there's generally pretty good crowds at Franklin's Gardens. Let's give it a watch, and it was wet. It was very wet, but I thought it was a pretty intense game. Very much a game of two halves, which is obviously the cliche. We will go through some key events and stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But I thought it was pretty entertaining watch. A lot of offloads from Munster early, which was, again, with the conditions, kind of interesting. And then Northampton also trying to kind of play high tempo, quick line out and whatnot. So neither side, I thought, really playing to the conditions. But the first try, which came on about 13 minutes, Gavin Coombs, bit of a try-scoring machine, not real flashy. It was basically a 5-meter tap, boom, and then next phase is Coombs' carry, and he gets over the line as he is like to do. You guys have got some real good loose forwards in Ireland, and Gavin Coombs, Jack O'Donoghue, Peter O'Mahony, that's a pretty bloody good back row. So 7-0 to Munster, and then on a quarter of an hour, wee bit of handbags. The referee kind of has a word with the captains, and there's going to be more of that. Much more of that later. Well, one big event anyway, but the 15-minute one's kind of just a quiet one. It was interesting to see Northampton not really going for threes. They were trying to push back, I guess, after conceding the early try. Munster conceding a few penalties. Eventually, though, there was one pretty much straight out in front, so Northampton took that one to reduce the deficit to 4. But then Munster got one back not long later, when Northampton were offside at a scrum, so it's back to 7. And then Munster gave away another penalty. This time was Carberry kind of taking out a man off the ball, and it's back to 4. So it's very much kind of tit-for-tat stuff. 10 points to 6 after about half an hour. And then, man, Munster's scrum. Again, like the scrum penalties did go both ways, but Munster's scrum dominated this after the half an hour mark. Dominated, they get a penalty, they go for a line-out, and it is a peach of a line-out move. Tyke Burns pass to Gavin Coombs again, who just hits the ball at pace. Jeez, he's good. 17 points to 6. That's the end of the scoring, and we're only, 35 minutes in. That's literally the end of the scoring. There is no scoring in the second half. I mean, Northampton did kind of have one chance before half-time, but it was a little bit of loose ball. So they go into the shed 17 points to 6 at half-time. Munster have had 61% possession. They've had 55% territory. They're doing pretty good. Second half, though, is very much a different story. There's a few errors both way early. Northampton get a line-out which doesn't go straight. Byrne is pinged for the way he's defending the maul. And then, man, 52 minutes, the closest thing that I've seen to a proper brawl. Now, it's not really a brawl and no one's throwing punches, but there's a bit of off-the-ball stuff. And just like you've seen years ago where loads of players just come in and start cleaning each other out and pushing and shoving. And like I haven't seen anything quite that involved, that number of players getting involved for a bloody long time. There's ribbons involved, O'Donoghue's involved. Eventually, the yellow cards go to Ludlam and O'Donoghue for starting it. But they kind of weren't the guys who were finishing it. But it's one of those ones where there's just so many players and nobody's actually throwing a punch. So the referee just bang, bang, one each way. He probably could have looked at it in a bit more detail, but he just goes with the instigators, I suppose. So, yeah, interesting. Don't see that stuff very often, but, yeah, bit of fun. Not really, but, yeah, that is what it is. 56 minutes, a bit more drama when Casey takes out Ram, the winger, in the air when he's catching a cross kick. Interesting call, and I think Northampton may be a little bit burned by that one because Casey gets a yellow card for taking the man out in the air, but there's no penalty try. And Ram had caught it. Whether he's able to catch it and continue his strides for the line, I guess that's the question. We don't know, but it did kind of look like a very good potential try scoring opportunity. So just a yellow. Munster concede more penalties, especially at the maul. They get on another yellow card warning, and you can feel Northampton, if they can just turn the screws one more step, then they're going to get a two-man advantage, potentially get themselves back in the game. But no, Peter Romani denies them with a line-out steal. Key man for a key moment. More Munster penalties conceded, more Northampton pressure. Another Munster line-out steal just at that key moment when they look like they're about to fold. I mean, too many penalties conceded. Carberry eventually gets yellow carded, but the Munster defence just keeps on going, keeps on tackling, keeps on getting turnovers. It's really crazy stuff. My son comes along to look at the game, and he's looking at the clock. He's wondering, why aren't there more points? I thought it'd be 30 or 40 points by now, and Northampton at that moment's going 17 phases. But nah, the Munster defence just keeps holding, man. So, son, that's just one of those ones. When a team defends like lions, nobody scores. So, yeah, second half finishes pointless, as in no points were scored. But yeah, really, really crazy. The possession numbers finish 58-42, and the territory finishes 60-40 in Northampton's favour. Remember, first half was Munster's favour, so second half, Northampton has 73% possession, 72% territory, no points scored. Run meters finished 385 to 357, so pretty tight. Defenders beaten 35-9 to Northampton, but you wouldn't know because they didn't score any tries. Clean breaks 2 apiece, so pretty low. Penalties conceded, man, 18 by Munster, including 13 in their own half. You could argue they could have had a bit more harsher discipline from the ref. 12 penalties conceded by Northampton, so 30 penalties in a game is on the high side. Keith Earls, 94 metres and a clean break. Oh, I forgot to mention turnovers 9-3 to Munster. Crazy stuff. That's what keeps them in the game. Yeah, Keith Earls, as I mentioned, 94 metres. Haley gets 3 defenders beaten. Gavin Coombs, 24 tackles, 2 turnovers, 1, 2 tries. O'Donoghue, 20 tackles, 2 turnovers, 1. Plus 10 minutes in the bin, still manages to get to 20 tackles. I mean, Jono Augustus had a pretty decent shift. 48 metres, 5 defenders beaten, 2 turnovers, 1. But yeah, man, they just couldn't score a bloody try, Northampton. So yeah, crazy, crazy stuff, folks. Munster do love European rugby, don't they? So yeah, there you go. You guys let us know your thoughts. School holidays, so me and the boy are going to do something. The sun has come out here in NZ, so yeah, we'll see how we go. You guys all take care of yourselves. I should have said at the start, if you're in the States and you want to watch the Champions Cup, it's on Flow Rugby. Flow Rugby's link's down in the description, so yeah, check it out if you want to catch up on any of these games. The URC Top 14, they've got it all. Anyway, you guys take care, and talk to you guys again soon. See you later.